Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day to start things off. About a good 12 hours ago, give or take at the time of me making this video, Bitcoin's price surged past 7,000 US dollars. It was around 68.55 or something like that, passed around 7,200 US dollars. A lot of people were very euphoric. I decided to go to sleep. Woke up and found out that Bitcoin had fallen by 8% during the time that I was in sleepy land. Weird sentence, but the point is, it says the rally unfortunately did not last for long. After rallying to $7,000 and holding above this key psychological price point for all of 5 hours, Bitcoin has plunged. In the past 3 hours, which comes as a critical weekly candle ends, the cryptocurrency has shed more than 8%, tumbling from highs of 7,200 to a low of 6,580. Since then, Bitcoin has recovered around a good $200 to $300. You probably know what I am thinking at this point. It says the move was largely unexpected because it probably was a false movement done by whales, with data from derivatives tracker skew.com indicating that $35 million worth of BitMEX long positions had been liquidated in the past 3 hours over the course of Bitcoin's latest bout of weakness. This is far below the hundreds of millions liquidated last month, but still more than the 14 million liquidated during the crash from 74 to 69 seen in the middle of the chart above. It appears that Bitcoin's recent drop is a result of ongoing correlation with risk assets, namely the American stock market and the S&P 500 index. So we got indications last night that I didn't check the stock futures in depth, but I think, and from what I've seen from the actual sentiment news, if you will, over the past 24 hours, it appears that a lot of people think that this week amongst stock markets around the world will be another negative week, because I think the reality is setting in as to the, not severity, but the gravity of the situation that the entire world is currently undergoing. We spoke about this before in the other video as well. It doesn't make a lot of sense that the stock market would have gone up at all, especially after we had just gotten news that the jobless rate, official jobless rate within America had reached 16.6 million people, and that is just within the United States. Also, that this entire situation could go on from anywhere from 6 to 12 to 18 more months in total. In total, not, as severe, but still continue to go on. So, it could be that Bitcoin is now heavily correlated with stock markets. But I'm going to say no, that there hasn't been a really strong correlation over the past 10, 11 years, so I don't understand why there would seemingly be one over the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks. We are probably going to get news. Now, this is what happens every single time, boys and girls, because it keeps happening over and over and over. I was just talking to my friend. I'll give you the entire rundown of exactly what was going on. I woke up, saw his text. It's always like a price number and then like a chart. Looked at the chart, saw the price had gone down. I didn't even bat an eye, shed a tear, broke into a sweat. None of that actually ended up happening because I know that all these things are going to continue happening. Why? Because if you've been paying attention, and I mentioned before, talking too fast, I mentioned before in other videos, whenever we get a week-long, 10-day, let's say a 10-day streak of constant bearish price news, I know that the prices are going to fall down. I think it's done in sync. I think it's coordinated. You can say whatever you want. Tinfoil hat moment. I really don't care at this point. We know that there are very rich people within the cryptocurrency space. A lot of people mistake and don't believe or understand that a lot of the people who give these negative price predictions as to where the prices are going to go also hold tons of Bitcoin. These people have anywhere from 10, 15, 20,000 Bitcoin, even just 8,000 Bitcoin. They are whales. They have a huge amount of Bitcoin. All it takes is a constant negative sentiment within the market, and then for them to actually make a move within the market, for the market to go down, and for them to be able to say, well, this is the movement I was telling you about. As far as the fundamentals for Bitcoin, keep this in mind always. Bitcoin does 3 to 5 transactions per second. Bitcoin did not drop to 1 transactions per second. We know that there is a minor capitulation, if you will, but then the miners came back within about a day or two after the hash rate had reorganized itself or had gone back down or whatever the difficulty had changed. We also know that there's tons of movement on the Bitcoin network. We know that people around the world may have slowed down when it comes to moving Bitcoin because the entire world is semi-frozen. But we know that people are still using it. We know that there are tons of people, millions of people around the world who are still buying every single day and or trading back and forth, depending on how cumulatively you kind of want to look at the entire thing. There was nothing that happened over the course of here to here where Bitcoin's price would have suddenly completely dropped because the fundamentals for actually what's happening behind the scenes in the coin and the people around the world who are using it would have completely dropped. This is you would have mathematically needed an 8% drop across miners and people around the world who are using, buying, and selling Bitcoin and or trading Bitcoin to have simultaneously happen at the exact same time to warrant an actual move like this. There's no reason for the move. Like I said, I am certain by the middle of this week, we are going to get some type of news that there was a major movement of Bitcoin, either from one wallet to another or from one wallet to an exchange. That's just how things go. It may seem weird, but people know how to control the market. People are understanding that there is potentially a lot of money to be made in this market, and they will do whatever they can to push prices down or to manipulate prices. These moves make no sense. These moves actually, these aren't based in, I wanted to say fact or reality, but I couldn't really find other words to really put together because my mind is like going at a million miles per second at the moment. The point is, yes, we have gone up and then broke back down. I assure you, nothing negative happened to Bitcoin. There was no hack. There wasn't a 51% attack. There wasn't an attempt on a 51% attack. There wasn't a clogging of the network. None of that took place. So it's just whales behind the scenes who are pushing the price down. I forgot the other point that I had to make. As we get closer to the actual Bitcoin halving, which I think at this point is like 28, 29, 30 something days away, it's just a lot going on. We've seen other miners from other blockchains move over to Bitcoin after other coins have become unprofitable over the last like week. So yeah, it's all a load of nonsense. I am trying to, I think I'm not holding words back, but I'm a little fatigued of, I think it's far too early for me to be ranting and raging over all the, you know exactly how I feel about this. We are, as a market, very undervalued right now, simply because we know the institutions and the banks and the custodians and the so-and-so and the apps who are actually using and integrating cryptocurrencies and more so even Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind as the week goes on. I expect, first of all, like why would there be any correlation in the first place for Bitcoin and the stock market? But besides the entire speculative asset thing, this is what always makes me really annoyed, because we know, listen, it makes me annoyed because people are just trading Bitcoin but don't really understand the actual fundamentals. Isn't even the word, like the actual use case for it. And this even goes for people within the cryptocurrency space as well. Like, I don't think it's completely our fault. Like, I don't think it was like, it's your problem. But it's still this really weird, like, we understand, like, if you understand the actual idea of what Bitcoin is, how this idea has taken off over the last 11 years, how many people around the world are actually accumulating, like, there should, at this point, there should actually be no Bitcoin on the market. Just based off of the potential future prospects and all the news that we've been going over the last 3 years of all the companies and institutions who are not only into it, but are also buying it, there should literally be no Bitcoin floating around anymore, because just even the speculative the aspect of buying it up as a just in case, there should actually be none left. Anyway, that's my own personal feeling. This one also says Bitcoin price breaks 6,700 support level. What is to expect from BTC USD now? I can only imagine the articles that we're going to see over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a split down the middle. It's going to be people who think that the price is or should be bullish, or the other side are going to say that the price is going to go down. It has to be one of the two. Something's going to happen. We are at the point where the Bitcoin supply getting cut in half is going to cause a supply shock, because the amount of people who are still trading itself back and forth are going to realize that there's half of what they need actually being produced by the network. So this one also says Ripple, XRP, is plunging and is vulnerable for a bigger decline. I've never seen a more obvious article in my entire life. If any of you didn't realize that when Bitcoin goes down, that the rest of the market is also going to go down, I saw articles like this for IOTA. I saw an article like this for EOS, for Litecoin, for Ethereum, and for tons of other coins talking about their prices are going down. They're super bearish. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not bearish. Like I promise you, the 100 million people who are in the cryptocurrency space right now did not all have this awakening at one point during the day, yesterday, the last 12 hours, where they all seemingly decided at the exact same time that Bitcoin had to go down. It's a whale. It's always whale movements. Every time that we get the news, it's always a whale. It's always somebody who's really rich who ended up selling, moving their coins, putting a fake sell order, and buying up somewhere else. It's always the same. It's how it's going to be for a while, and I just think this is kind of how things are. So this is a thing that, and this is why I appreciate days, and I know it sounds weird. I appreciate days when all the coins' prices go down at the exact same time, because it stops the entire thing where people before, every single time that Bitcoin would go up by around like 2%, and XRP would drop by like 1.5%, the comment section would go completely insane. Your coin's dropping and mine's going up. I think it's a very humbling experience. I know they won't last for long, because I can imagine when we have a day, if XRP is going up by 17% and Bitcoin's going down by 2%, the comment section is going to go crazy. If we have a day where Bitcoin's going up by 22% and XRP is down by 1%, the comment section is going to go crazy. So just always remember these moments. All coins are coins. I'm gonna step away from this conversation because I felt my my blood pressure rising, and I think it's time to just kind of move on. Anyway, the point is, all coins are down. That's how the coins work. They're usually magnetized to Bitcoin until they gain enough liquidity or enough of a use case or enough usage around the world that they will be completely uncorrelated for Bitcoin. It was expected in 2016, 2017 that 2020 would be the time when all this would happen. You can even find other old articles. You can find tons of them. And for those of you who've been here for the past 3 years, you remember this. You remember there was a huge thing that by 2019, Ethereum would be completely uncorrelated to Bitcoin. By 2020, XRP would be on its own. It would never follow the price movements of Bitcoin. Nope. Bitcoin still the head honcho, the big magnet. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's going to be this way for a very long time. Anyway, yeah, the price went up, price went back down. I know my neighbors love me. Early in the morning, screaming at the top of my lungs into a microphone. I'm sure they can't get enough. Anyway, that's the price movement news. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, the Center for Information and Industry Development, or CCID, under China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, released its latest update of crypto project rankings on Friday. Before this, the rankings were last updated in February, with some 37 projects when they were evaluated. In addition to the overall ranking, the center assessed the crypto projects based on 3 additional categories. They are basic technology, applicability, and creativity. Oh, that's interesting. The CCID updates its rankings every 2 months. This time around, it is the 17th update and the 2nd this year. For those of you who don't know, China doesn't like Bitcoin, but at the same exact time, they release cryptocurrency rankings. They believe that blockchain is the future and that cryptocurrencies are evil. But on the same exact note, they also every 2 months release a cryptocurrency ranking list, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes a lot of sense to me because I'm pretty sure that they are knee deep in buying cryptocurrencies themselves. I think it would be ridiculous to assume otherwise. Remember that news that we had the other year? It was about governments buying up Bitcoin and banks buying up Bitcoin, and people were like, there's no way. Why would we have that news? And then we found out that banks were buying it and governments were trying to issue bonds against Bitcoin. So one can only assume if you have billions to burn, they're probably buying up crypto. It says this month, EOS remains top of the overall ranking, followed by Tron and then Ethereum. Bitcoin fell slightly from the 11th to the 14th place, while Bitcoin Cash rose from 34th to 31st. Sure. Here's the actual rankings right here. I tried to make it bigger. There's no like magnifying glass for me to actually pop it bigger. It's EOS, Tron, Ethereum, Lisk, IOST, Nulls, Quantum, Neo, Lumens, Dash, GX Chain, Cosmos, BitShares, Bitcoin, Steem, XRP, Nebulos, Arc, and Ethereum Classic. Sure. What was the other people who used to give us Weiss ratings? They used to also give cryptocurrency rankings and stuff like that quite often. I guess the discussion always goes back to, if you hate cryptocurrencies, why would you be releasing cryptocurrency rankings? Also, for those of you, and I can't find it, and it's a complete shame. It was in one of my videos. You'll never be able to find it. It was about a year ago. Where China gave, it was like a huge PDF that had been passed out to people digitally. You can't, it's PDF. And it was it was really weird. Like, it showed like a flower growing, and then out of it popped Bitcoin, and they talked about Bitcoin's beginnings, where it had been, where the price was, how much the price had risen. Like, this was all like from the actual government. Like, this wasn't like someone made this and passed it around. Like, this was an actual government official thing that had been created. It showed a guy proposing to his wife. He opened up like the little like ring thing, and there was a Bitcoin inside, and he explained to her like, baby, we're rich. It was all these really weird things. And then like 2 days later, China was like, yeah, we don't like Bitcoin. Stop using Bitcoin. No one buy Bitcoin. And it's like, but you just released the, why are you, even the other day, like when they reiterated that Bitcoin and crypto were legal within the country, like you can buy it, you can't trade it. And then a day later, they were like, crypto's evil. Don't do it. There's a lot of scams, and crypto exchanges are evil. And I'm like, what? Anyway, yeah, those are the new crypto rankings from China. Based on technology, applicability, and creativity, EOS is number 1. And then Tron is number 2. I think you'd have a lot of people who would definitely disagree with this list. Ethereum's number 3. Quantum is all. I mean, there's just a lot going on. So we'll see how these. Cardano is almost at the bottom. Cardano is slightly above Litecoin, which I think many people would also disagree with. Like, I feel like just technologically, Litecoin does, is it 12 transactions per second, 12 to 13 or something like that. And I feel like Cardano should. Anyway, I mean, I wonder what they're based off of. The idea years ago when we got these rankings for the first time was that China put their favorite coins towards the top that they may have had an economic interest in, such as Neo, Quantum, Tron, and what was the other one? Coin. Anyway, that's the Chinese rankings. And without further ado, let's move on. Also and I mean everywhere news, when someone transferred 161,500 Bitcoin on the 10th of April for a fee of only 10,019 Satoshis, approximately 68 cents, the crypto world took notice. I don't think they did. According to blockchain transaction details, the user moved approximately $1.1 billion in Bitcoin at press time. Of that amount, 15,000 Bitcoin was sent to a wallet, while the remainder, 146,500, were returned to the original address. Twitter user Krum0 was one of the first to spot the transaction, but it didn't take long for someone to take credit for the move. In a response, reaching 150,000 followers, but apparently it was BitMEX. They moved the transaction around, and I guess the news is that the fee was only 68 cents to move $1 billion. I mean, it's quite significant. But I know, did you know that Bitcoin was capable of doing this? This has happened multiple times. There were people who were sending $300 million and the fee was about 47 cents. So I guess the news, I mean, it's significant. Listen, we have a current banking system. I've sent money overseas before to buy property, and the fees were absolutely staggering. You hear the fees and someone tells you, because usually if you're making a very big transfer, they have to call you to make sure that you're not doing something illegal. And the fees are absolutely insane. And I assure you, my fee was not 68 cents. So yeah, it's awesome. This is the point of blockchain. This is the point of cryptocurrencies and decentralized ledgers, so that should one day you become a billionaire, you can send your money around the world at lightning speed for only 68 cents. This is in huge contrast, and I assume it has to do with the adoption of SegWit by more cryptocurrency exchanges. I think the last we heard was, I think it was like, I don't know if it was over 50%, if it was 50 or 60%, I can't remember the exact number. The adoption of one of the only few upgrades on Bitcoin by more cryptocurrency exchanges, and the more of them that adopt it, the lower the transaction fees for Bitcoin become. I still wonder if we're ever going to have that point again where it seems unlikely at this point. When in 2017 Bitcoin was 17,000 per coin, and in order to transact in Bitcoin, it was around like $28 for a transaction. So yeah, not a lot of people were sending $100 that day. Anyway, the news of, what was that? Like something popped. Anyway, the news of the day is that someone sent $1 billion worth of Bitcoin for 68 cents. I feel like I should be more surprised, but this happens quite often. People are always sending, and yeah, it must be because before in the past we couldn't do this, but we've been able to do this for about a year now, so it's still significant, still a lot of money. There's no bank, not one, no bank on this planet where you'd be able to send $1 billion anything, $1 billion bananas, and your fee would not be 68 cents. So good job on them for sending the money and letting us know that they sent the money, and then the transaction being 68 cents. Let's move on. Next up, Square's Cash App is allowing U.S. citizens and residents who don't usually file a tax return to direct the forthcoming government stimulus payments to the mobile payments application. The move comes after the company failed to convince the United States Treasury to let it distribute the stimulus funds to segments of the U.S. population within hours of the IRS greenlighting the distribution of stimulus funds to citizens who don't file tax returns on the 10th of April. Square users can accept payments issued under the 19 Relief and Economic Securities Act directly into their Cash App balance. It says it right here. Get your $1,200 even if you didn't file a tax return in 2019. A post on Square's website explains that the app will provide routing and account numbers that you can use to deposit your stimulus payment directly to your Cash App balance. On the same day, Square launched an online portal to make it easy for non-tax paying users to request payments to their Cash App accounts from the IRS. I don't feel like reading anymore. It's far too much. The point is, for those of you who need a bit of context, the U.S. is apparently, supposedly, I think has already begun sending out stimulus checks, if you will, to people as a way to help them weather the economic hurricane that is currently happening right now. The issue is that a lot of people were told that apparently, I think around, what was the number? Does it have it somewhere around here? No numbers. I think it was 50 million Americans out of the 350 million that it would take around 5 months for them to receive their actual check. At the same time, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter and Square, came forward and I think tried to talk to the U.S. government. So did there was another some other app also came forward. Oh, and PayPal also came forward, and they were like to the U.S. government, hey, let us help. And I think the U.S. government was like, no, we got this. People don't mind waiting for 5 months. But apparently it's now possible for people to get their money this way as well. So that's great because, technology is the year 2020. This stuff should be able to, we have a garbage economic system as it is. So, you should, it just should have been able to for all of this to happen before. So if you were one of the people who were told that it would take you 5 months to get your check, apparently, first of all, look into this. I can only go so deep into a topic as I'm going and reading through it. Google it. find more information, see if you are also eligible to receive your money through this app. If there are fees after as you're trying to send your money through the app, or what exactly ends up happening, how easy it is for you to take your money out, to use it, and you simply just go around and start tapping your phone and paying. That would also be kind of cool. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. It's really insane. It's insane to think that where the government, I don't want to say fails or is lacking, you literally have Jack Dorsey, PayPal, and Third App as actual methods. Like, how much easier could the world be if it were just... Nope, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin-friendly cash app payment routing stimulus check. You don't have to wait 5 months news. Let's move on. In unsurprising news, France's top financial regulator, the Autorité des Marchés Financiers, has stated that it's not ready yet to come with the precise classifications for cryptocurrencies. According to finance magnates, the regulator made its stance clear in response to the European Commission's consultation. Currently, the AMF defines crypto as a digital asset that may depend on cryptography and exists on a distributed ledger. Good for them. At the same time, the regulator pointed out that a line must be drawn between crypto as financial instruments and electronic money. We believe it's so... I think it would be cool for like a day to put myself in the body, soul, mind of a regulator just to see exactly like what plane they exist on. I think... Oh, I know. Regulators are so obsessed with classifications for things that it just kind of... It muddies everything. Have you ever done your own taxes? Have you ever tried to do your own taxes? It's one of the dumbest things in the entire world. Like, I don't think people would mind as much doing taxes if it didn't take 19 and a half hours. Like, I remember one time I was doing the tax and it was like add the numbers from number 47 on the list to number 52 and then subtract 15 that you got from the number 1 that you added before. Now the number that you get over here, is it like multiply by 3 and then divide by 100? And I was like, why would I have to? Why can't I just make it very simple? It's the same exact thing with all the regulations. I think they're so used to this complex, annoying structure that it just kind of sets everything like back. Like the fact that they need a line between it being a financial instrument and electronic money. Why can't it simply be both? Like, we know that it can work as both. We know that at the same exact time, while I am able to electronically pay for a baguette with Bitcoin, I can also trade it back and forth as a financial instrument to also potentially make more on it. Why? They said we believe it is important to keep the electronic money regime, which is relevant and should not be undermined by a new regulation. However, it would be useful to work on the articulation between the different regimes, the regulator stated. The AMF also voiced its concerns over the increasing popularity of stablecoins. Adding that authorities could even ban them if the need arises. They said this requires the ability to draw a line between stablecoins, which would be concerned by mandatory requirements, and other payments tokens only partially covered by mandatory requirements. There are a lot of countries right now who do not like stablecoins. You have to understand, this is all a power struggle. This is all them trying to make sure that they maintain. This is why the entire 19 situation is so interesting to watch play out, because they don't have direct control over it. Anything that governments don't have direct control over causes them to completely go insane and they kind of lose their minds. I mean, and I don't want people to lose their minds, but it's fascinating to see how this entire thing works out. Same exact thing with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the very beginning. It was this very big, like, is this a problem? Can this happen? Can this so-and-so? The same exact thing with Facebook's Libra. People were also losing their minds as to exactly how far this could end up going. Like, could this take over the US dollar? Would this overtake the euro? Is this going to be stronger than the pound? So the fact that we have this situation right now where people, you as a person, I'm not saying to do it because the SEC would pounce on you. People from Tether. All it takes is people financing you. You put the money somewhere, you lock it away, and then you start using this digital money back and forth. But what ends up happening is that the US dollar, the euro, the pound aren't being used. It's now they're using Tether, which is a pseudo US dollar, but the US dollar is still not being used. Like in the active transactions, the numbers of US dollars are going down. It's so we have this really big, I assume very soon. Not because also this gets us into the discussion of governments are also going to be creating and have already started creating their own central bank digital currencies. It's there. Like we know it's there. It's locked up in a vault somewhere, and they're waiting for the perfect time to go, oh my gosh, yeah, guys, look what we made. We need this now. Stable coins pose a risk to that. Why, if I have to use a central bank digital currency, and I know that every single time that my transaction is happening, not only am I being charged 45 cents for nonsense just because the government wants to make more money, but my transactions are also being like hyper tracked by the government. Why wouldn't I just want to use Tether or Boost or any other stablecoin out there? Why would I decide to use something that's tracking me? And also, so expect very soon. I give it 2 years. This also ties into, once again, why I think that people from Tether have been launching Tether on top of, I think, like 5 or 6 other blockchains by now. Someone must have tipped them off. They know something. Someone must have told them at some point, this is going to get shut down. So they put it onto different blockchains to kind of keep it safe. You know, if you shut down this, it's still running on 5. You can't shut down Bitcoin. It's still running on 5 other blockchains. So expect very soon. I mean, at this point, I expect France to do it first if they're already talking about it out loud, but also definitely expect the US within the next year or two. If Bitcoin pops over 50,000 within the next year or two, by the end of next year, or we end up seeing no, I think that's it. If we see more usage in Bitcoin and in stable coins teetering near the usage of the US dollar and or the euro, just expect them to be like, oh yeah, we've seen too much illegal activity with these stable coins. I don't like them being stable. Do you like them being stable? Let's unstable them. And then they're going to be completely wiped out. This is why, once again, it is very important to focus on decentralized permissionless coins where you don't need permission to use them, because in about 2 years, we're going to have a lot of coins where you will need direct permission from the government to be able to use and issue and transact in them. So always keep that in mind. I know people won't listen, but you'll listen in about 2 years. Anyway, to finish things off, cryptocurrency exchange Binance is enabling citizens in 5 more countries to buy cryptocurrencies using Visa, debit, and credit cards with their national fiat currencies. The new service announced on the 10th of April will extend card support for the Colombian peso, the South Korean won, the Kenya shilling, the Kazakhstani tenge, and Peru's Nuvio sol. At launch, a total of 5 cryptocurrencies are available for purchase. They will be Bitcoin, Ether, Binance Coin, XRP, Binance US Dollar, and Tether. Is that 6? Bitcoin, Ether, Binance Coin, XRP, US Coin, and Tether. That's definitely 6 coins. Anyway, cool. This is another 5 countries. If you are in Colombia, South Korea, Kenya, Kazakhstan, or Peru, you can now use your Visa debit or credit cards to buy crypto. I don't have the number tallied up anymore. Binance stated at the beginning of this year, or was it at the very end of last year, that they would cover every single fiat currency on the planet to be able to buy into the cryptocurrency space. Lo and behold, here we are. Once again, just to reiterate, in 2017, we had none of this. In 2017, you were able to use Coinbase, Kraken. Binance had no fiat support. Remember those days when Binance had no fiat support and we were waiting to the middle of 2018? It was summer 2018 when they got fiat support. There was Binance, Kraken. I think it was Poloniex. There were 2 other cryptocurrency exchanges who were scams and have since closed down. And there were like a sprinkle of other ones around the world to be able to buy crypto. Now we have hundreds, and we have support for nearly every single fiat currency on the planet. And we see volumes rising. We see more usage rising, which then also leads us to, why would Bitcoin fall by 8%? Must have been a whale. Anyway, that's pretty good news. I like stuff like this because it not only opens the door for people to be able to buy whenever they want, or to sell, to have the freedom to be able to do so, but also, should the market get hot, people can buy in easily. They no longer have to Google around, how do I do this? The answer is right there in front of their faces. So it opens up new lines of liquidity. And yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Yasha Harari, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Josh Gorsica, Chongololo, Tsongololo, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Mr. Pickles, Nostromo, Barebones Mining, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moham Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Neal, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas Renorth, One Piece, One Love, Damien Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto NBA Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes, to Crypto, Buddy McButtface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arf Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Ramacho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Hold On, I Have to Sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. I kind of want to try reading those backwards one day. Not like letter for letter, but like Sneeze to Have I on hold. I think that would be ridiculous, and I'd stumble the entire way through. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And thank you to everyone who is a supporter of the channel. And also thank you to everyone who's been using the affiliate links below. You guys are freaking legends, man. Thank you very much. On that note, at the moment, here's the slam down, and here's a sideways trend that we've been going through for the past, what is it, 10, 11 hours? Some coins are trying to go back up. I'm pretty sure the coins are dazed and confused as to why they went down in the first place. Not a lot of coins are up. Some coins are like 10%. Oh, that just changed. 7% down. We'll see exactly what ends up happening as the end of the... Wow, that was not English. We'll see what ends up happening as the rest of the day ends up going on. That was the full sentence. I don't know. I would say anticipate a movement down. There's three things always happening. If I say anticipate a further movement down, the prices go up. If I say I'm going to buy, the prices go down. If I say I'm not going to buy, I'm going to hold out for a bit longer, the price ends up going up. If you are out there manipulating the prices based off of what I say, please stop. I would like to buy once, and then the price goes up. I mean, it's been about a good 28 times that I can remember, like legit 28 times. Every single time that I buy, my friend texted me. He's like, "Oh man, the price has dropped by 38%." I'm like, 38? What did I do? Anyway, yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. No real bad news every single day. We're not getting any hyper negative news. Except for price movements. Let's see what ends up happening. I mean, it's all we can do. I was going to say, let's see where this goes. At this point, we don't really have a choice. I mean, time moves forward, whether we want it to or not. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.